Christina Universe Citizen presents In the Beginning, 06, September 19, 2023. What is abundant freedom? An object as a rememberable entity must be membered, as we can read in Synergetic 615.01, with structural integrity. This is essential regardless of what physical form and nature it takes, and which can be generalized entirely to consist of triangles, polygons, the only complex of self-regenerating energy systems that are pattern stabilization. The minimum structural systems topological inventory of 6 vectors, 4 vertices, and 4 triangular faces is a polyhedron. Polygon for triangle, polyhedron for tetrahedron. Poly, from Greek polis, much, many. So a conceptuality of this structural system sixness, fourness, as in 6 times 4 equal 24. One way of associating tetrahedral objectives as energy events, and the first subdivision of universe's constant relative abundance. To reiterate in differently assembled words, the object or entity is never a solid but is always an aggregate. Realization is objective integrity by objective metaphysical intellect in physical universe as a function of metaphysical physical universe. Obviously, the generalized conceptioning is decidedly more economic than all that humans everywhere on earth have been learning that subjects us from early childhood to inculcating and indoctrinating education objectives. Those objectives historically omit the essential energy quantum values that synergetics informs our variously interested curiosity about what comes before and is subsequent to that particular beginning. As we can learn in Synergetics 240, there are 6 vectors or none, which is the number of edges of the minimum structural system, the minimum set that is definable as the tetrahedron. Cosmologically, there is no exception in this elementary awareness of the number 6 as the number of all the vectors in universe, a number that is always divisible by 6. 6 divided by 6 equal 1. One whole unit structural systems, self-regenerating, eternally conserved energy integrity, metaphysical mind's conceptuality of one quantum of energy that consists of 24 quantum modules independent of size. The size is special case physical and is manifest by frequency of length, area, volume, and time. The 4 variables can be remembered terms of relative length, area, volume, and time. Logically, therefore, our education institutions for millennia neglected these synonymous correlations to whatever humans observe as the reenacting articulations, not actually realizing that the word logically means locally in time and space. Such informed knowledge by objective intellect can naturally evolve to clarify that by space means that size must be a function of time. In other words, size and time are synonymous, which is explained in Synergetics 528.03. Abundant freedom more obviously requires a connection between the 6 degrees and omnidirectional universe, which gradually becomes known throughout the course of synergetically inquisitiveness and hands-on experience of the jitterbug model, which is a vector tool for observing how its 24 vectors, its triangular and square faces accommodate the transformation from vector equilibrium to icosahedron to the octahedron to the tetrahedron. Vector equilibrium is also known as VE when combining the threeness of the cube in relation to 20 as unity, explained in Synergetics 502.25. It seems, though, that the cube is overemphasized as a structural system, but in actuality, the hypotenuse of its square faces is the diagonal when the configuration shows the tetrahedron internally that stabilizes an otherwise unstable cube. So cubes cannot be the same as tetrahedrons with respect to stabilization and awareness of the 6 degrees of freedom, the 6 positive and 6 negative fundamental transformation freedoms, without which our anticipatory design science objectives would not be provided with 12 alternative ways in which nature can behave most economically concerning each and every energy event occurrence. Occur is a time word. Considering the enormity of corruption in the world, on the world stage, on Earth, locally to where our humanity lives, are now almost beyond any imaginable realizable solution without beginning from a newly conceived starting point. The TLBS, WME, truth, love, beauty, symmetry, wisdom, maximum economy, which is potentially recognizable and realizable by our humanity, must have been omitted, was unknown, not considered essentially relevantly to differently resulting realities. Because over the ages the problematic reenacting articulations involve humans from many differently induced thought language coordination according to their particular belief system. Those belief systems most likely depend on politics, religion, justice as authorities, and laws that are particular to cultivated values, hierarchical power positions, inherited adoptions to those rules, and adaptations to its manifest forms. Most of the manifest forms are punitory to some degree of expected conformity with variously threatening, fear-engendering degrees of harm. Such conforming and conditioning are somewhat manageable to the adaptive aspects of human nature that is relatively cooperative. When abundant freedom is conceptually anticipatory in principle and cannot be in short supply. Abundant freedom implies zero depression, suppression, which are related to unbalanced economic schemes that value accumulations of money wealth, while impervious to the always and only coexisting complementarities that physics has found, such as manifest and potential, minus and plus, negative and positive, omnidirectional and polarized, omnidirectional and discretely directional, omnidirectional and focal push-pulling, outside-inning and inside-outing, parity and disparity, plural and singular, pulsations in parentheses, inward and outward, and oscillations in parentheses, circumferential, spaces between spheres and spheres, stable and dynamic, system and zero. Emphasize monetary accumulation apparently is impervious to conceptualities of the constant relative abundance, which is topologically relevant to starting with universe's minimum structural system. Its topological vectors, vertexes, faces describe the energy unit, one quantum of energy known as the quantum module. Universe's environmental energy is the ever intertransforming system regenerating integrity that is topological and referential to the only three prime structural systems, the tetrahedron, the octahedron, the icosahedron. Those conceptual eternal pattern integrities are integrals of our humanity's individual conceptual reasoning, consciousness evolution, when informed thus of this constant relative abundance that provides correlating anticipatory design science realities with a basically essential cosmic accounting. The conceptuality of cosmic accounting and the constant relative abundance is one and the same for intellect's geometry of thinking and systemic thought. Complex and elementary unit integrity coincides with metaphysical mind's conscious awareness and anticipatory design science realities correlating to the most economic way a system can behave relative to unity and self in universe. Obviously, if the synergetics of universe becomes widely known, so too would be the omni-rational anticipatory design science economic solution, where everything comes out rationally referential to inherent nuclei. Technically and literally, this means to say that not only is the first subdivision of omnidirectional universe the conceptual tetrahedron, its topology and geometry coexist with the other relevant quantum modules within the isotropic vector matrix, which our individual objective metaphysical intellect can clearly see in Synergetics color plate number 9. But because it is so new, strangely unfamiliar to all that our humanity has been educated by, that emanates from the womb of permitted ignorance, the PMRS, politics, military, religion, societies, and increasingly spreading to the worldwide PRJWBCHM, politics, religion, justice, war, belief complexes, hierarchical matrix. Those systems are devoid of universe at the beginning, when human imagination formulates conceptually. Thereby, educated ignorance enables purely imaginary interactions, the offensive and defensive survival scenarios to every imaginable time-size tolerance for erroneously contrived human conditions. Erroneously contrived because the truth of systemic thought's referential generalized conceptioning was neglected wherever the local problem-solving mentality omitted universe. The awareness of the first subdivision of it as multiplication only by division is the mathematical integrity that most likely is applicable to expanding and contracting universes, galaxies of stars over billions of years and light years interdistances. The annihilation and conservation, where energy is neither created nor ever lost, and is always 100% accountable. It is from where and when the constant relative abundance conceptually derives, which cosmic logically correlate to the human mind's conscious awareness of abundant freedom. The freedom is from all that otherwise is promoted as reality by the PRJWBCHM, a contextual parameter that carries over and into each succeeding, partially overlapping generation the inherited detriments of the slave mentality and corruption ad infinitum. To be continued in the beginning 07. Thank you. Reference: Synergetics Table of Contents, Synergetics Figure Index, Synergetics Color Plate number 9, Synergetics 502.25, Synergetics 528.03, Synergetics 616.0,